got a great video for you today from How to Have Fun Outdoors. Yes, that's right. Vermont all the way down to Florida. 11 lessons for the first 11 days. So we're excited about this video to kind of share what our experience was in our first 11 days on the road with our brand new Class B. We really enjoyed the trip. We started way up in the north near Canada in Vermont and made our way all the way down to Orlando. And we just love our brand new Coachmen Beyond 22C all-wheel drive Ford chassis. So How to Have Fun Outdoors is all about motivating you to get outside, enjoy yourself. So please subscribe, give us a like, and share the videos with your friends, and leave us some comments below on what lessons you've learned with your Class B or any RV that you may have. Overall, this was a fun trip, and stay tuned on this channel for everything from snowshoeing to fishing to campground reviews, product reviews. We do a little bit of everything: amusement parks, downhill skiing. We'd even do some beginner ice skating for you, along with obviously Coachmen Beyond and Class B RV videos. And we love ice fishing and outdoor summer fishing, saltwater, and visiting cities, and all kinds of great stuff. But let's get back to the Class B. And what we found was our first 11 lessons with our brand new camper van. Okay, so here we go, and the first two lessons are all about first-time buyers, and even before and during your pickup. And then the last 9 tips or lessons are in regards to our first 11 days on the road. But for this first one, we talked to a lot of people over the past 2 months, and they all recommended this. So here you go. Okay, so let's get started with lesson 1. There are so many great Class B RV camper vans on the market today. Something for everyone. And I think it's really important that you do your research up front. That is lesson number 1. Determine who's going to be in the van, how you're going to use the van. You know, if you're a couple, if you're a single, if you plan on having kids, etc. This is very, very important on which van you pick, and once you've picked that van, you're stuck with it, so definitely take the time to do your research. Lesson number 2 is get a good walkthrough at the dealership when you pick up your van. It seems simple, but in our case, we had a gentleman, super nice guy, really nice person, but clearly and told us directly that he had never been in a Coachmen Beyond before. So we actually knew more about the van than he did, and that was very frustrating because you want to request somebody that has experience with your particular vehicle, and that is really, really important when you're picking up your vehicle. So you try to learn as much as you possibly can. In our case, we think he actually tripped the fault on our Truma. We did a video on that. But in any case, turning on the heat with the gas turned off. Okay, it's time for lesson number 3, and this one is really important. You never really think about it, but your new Class B RV is probably a lot taller than you think. And for us, it was a huge learning experience because we almost destroyed a brand new vehicle. And what I mean by that is we came south from Boston down to New York. We hit the Merritt Parkway Drive, and this is one of the oldest expressways in the United States. And believe it or not, the bridges were built years and years ago and are extremely low. So as we were driving, I was in the back on the computer, and Alice was saying, Tommy, what is the height of our vehicle? And I was working on the computer, told her I didn't have time, and she's like, no, seriously, we're very close to the bridges. Well, little did we know that our RV was not even allowed on this parkway, so that's number 1, despite what the GPS was telling us. Number 2, we were just missing the bridges by a couple of inches, and what's more amazing is Alice finally got hungry, and then from there we actually stopped, got some dinner, and it was an Italian restaurant, and the Italian fell in love with Alice. So of course I ended up taking over driving, and the very first bridge I went under, I realized we had a real problem. And we looked up the height, and the height on it is 9 foot 11 inches. So you're basically basically 10 feet. And so if you've got a bridge below 10 feet, you're in big trouble. So the first bridge was 10.7. The next bridge I got to was 10.3. And the final bridge, there was a warning sign that it was 9.7, which if we wouldn't have stopped and eat and I wouldn't have taken over driving and we didn't check the height, you can imagine the type of damage that we would have done. The air conditioning unit would have definitely been gone. So the lesson number 3 is make sure you check all your bridges. Okay, so after we made it through New York, we headed down to Philadelphia, New Jersey Shore, had a bunch of great visits with some friends. And from there, we went to Washington, D.C., and boy, did we have a great time. Stayed at the Mayflower. They let us actually park at their back entrance, which is a bonus tip. We won't even count it towards those 11 tips, but always check on parking before you get to hotels and different areas where parking may be restricted. But we did a video on Washington, D.C. It was fantastic. Definitely watch this. It's we're definitely not in the politics, but we had a great time down there. We always wanted to visit it. And everybody out on the mall was fantastic. Beautiful monuments and sights to see. Had a lot of fun with Rocky, as you can see here, running around. Ice cream. We played sports, soccer, American football. We did Frisbee, you name it, and just had a wonderful time. And you get to see everything on that video. It's a lot of fun, so check it out. From there, we continued to head south. So we pulled on out of the Mayflower and headed down to Busch Gardens in Virginia and also Virginia Beach. But we did a video on Busch Gardens. This was one of the first weekends where they opened the entire park. Only part of the park was open before. So we got to ride all the rides. But better yet, they knew we were coming with how to have fun outdoors and did a private tour. So you're going to get all the history, a private tour, and we even did a roller coaster video, as you can see here, which was a lot of fun. But definitely check out the video and enjoy the next tip. So for lesson 4, this is an important one. When you pick up your Class B from the RV dealership, try to make sure you fully understand the situation with your plumbing on your water and hot water systems. For us, we were coming out of the winter into the spring, so we requested it to be de-winterized. And when we picked it up, we were told that was the case, and we got home, and as we started to fill the tanks, we were actually at a campground, and we had leaking. We had leaking in the back, and we figured that out and got that valve fixed. Then we had leaking in the front, and had to wait till morning to figure that out. We did a video on it, so I won't go through all the details. And then we had to figure out the hot water valve system. So overall, definitely be aware of that. And obviously, if you're going to the dealership right before winter time, you want to think about winterizing it, and especially if you're in the north. And that's just a very helpful hint to be on top of it, because we were like, what's going on? We spent all this money and we've got leaks all over. It just wasn't the case. They were designed with those valves so that obviously it would leak. This is another one of the negatives with a Coachmen Beyond. You can see it right there, 9.7. And that is definitely not tall enough for the Coachmen Beyond. All right, so we actually pulled this one off. They took our order.
But we have the second step. That is the toughest one.
Well, I'll definitely have to get out because there's just no way we can fit underneath. But the good news is we got the order in. The other 2 places we went, we couldn't even get the order in. So
no.
So we're making progress here, folks, and I think we can just scoot right around that, which is going to be really good.
Yeah,
And
and I can tell you that tonight my husband will be extremely happy.
yeah, we don't have RVs up in New Hampshire. I think there might be one or two in the whole state. I don't know, but none near us, that's for sure. And it's been a couple years, so gonna have to do one of those roast beef with the RB sauce. All right, let's see if we're successful.
Let's try it.
Lesson number 5, and we talked about the bridges, and I know this is kind of silly, but with the current situation going on in all over the world, I guess, when you stop for fast food, it's the same situation as bridges. Most of the dining has been closed on our trips. They were all closed on this 11-day trip. And so you're forced to go through the drive-through. Well, when you go through the drive-through, the fact of the matter is none of these our van could fit. And it didn't matter if it was McDonald's, Arby's, Burger King. They all did not fit. So we came up with some tricks. A couple of places you just couldn't get fed. And we try not to hit those places. But the fact of the matter is, again, you have to be careful on the height and be aware of that. Lesson number 6 is just common knowledge, and you've probably heard this phrase before, less is more, and there's no question about that with the Class B RV. And in fact, our tip here is get on Amazon, Pro Bass Shop, check out these different places in regards to camping equipment. So much camping equipment now is designed to be extremely compact. We had a lot of success with this. And we were able to get a lot more into our Class B than we thought. And we were worried about that up front. But through a lot of creative purchasing, we were able to get a lot of product into the Class B. And we never felt like we were missing anything. In fact, we've got a bunch of tips on that in another video. And you're going to like some of the stuff we came up with. So lesson number 7 is expect some rattling in a camper van or Class B RV. It's just no way around it. But what I'm going to do is let Alice tell you one little trick that we came up with. We actually shared this on with Dean and his Facebook group the other day. And this helped us out. And here you go. Okay, what do you got there?
So when you're driving, to avoid the doors open, and obviously it happens when you add the weight on it, Tom found this cut and tie. These are really fantastic. Here it is. We cut one little piece and then we just anchor it, and because of the coverage, it doesn't ruin anything. And you just twist it up.
And that's it. You don't even need to do that many twists. Just 2 or 3 and you're good to go.
It's me, so better safe than sorry. So I just overdo it. But honestly, like a couple of them is fine. And we use it for here, but also for our hanging clothes, so that they don't open up.
All right, very good. Fantastic.
Remember, cut and tie. That's very easy.
Okay, so lesson number 8 is learn your control systems, especially when you're new to your RV. In today's technology with inverters, generators, lithium, solar, you name it, it's really good to spend a little bit of extra time, more than normal, reading your manuals, understanding how it works, and that's going to help you out a lot and get started much quicker. With us, the walkthrough just was not enough. We felt like we were always trying to learn this thing. After a couple of weeks, you end up being a pro and you're very comfortable with the flat screen and all your controllers. But, the first couple of weeks are tough. So I think the more you can learn up front, the better off you will be and the more happy camping you'll have. After we finished up in Williamsburg and Virginia Beach, we headed south. And Alice really wanted to see Savannah, and boy, did we have a great time. What a wonderful little city this is, and great food, great attractions, and we did a video on that. It's a must-see, and here we go with our next lesson. Okay, lesson number 9, have enough water and fuel. So this is a 2-part lesson. The first part is that you've obviously got the city water when you're hooked up at campgrounds, at home, etc. And I would say fully utilize that wherever you can. Some people worried about the plumbing and pressure, but make sure you have the pressure regulator and everything is good. I mean, we're plumbing experts at this point based on what we aforementioned on this video. And it's a solid system. So there's no problem with city water. I know some people are nervous about that. Secondly, don't run your pump when you're on city water. So you have the water pump, that's only for your water tank. And always try to keep water in your water tank because you're not going to have city water in a lot of locations. Finally, also fuel for your generator or your propane. So we always try to keep the propane tank full, and we always made sure that we had enough gas for the generator. And that's really important. When we got down to Orlando, the generator was kicking on all the time for the AC. That's the other thing that you'll be aware of. If you're anywhere where it's warm out, that AC will be clicking on. And if you have pets, you don't want to run out of fuel with the generator. Speaking of Florida, we had a great time down in Orlando. The weather was remarkable in the 90s, lots of great fishing videos. In fact, we even did one at the hotel where we caught a monster blue tilapia and a ton of bass. But even if you're not into fishing videos, there's lots of wildlife, pelicans, dolphins, manatees to watch on these videos. So they're a lot of fun, well done, and check them out. Down in Florida, we just couldn't get over how well our Class B handled the heat. So we had the air conditioning, the generator with the AGS that automatically turned on. So we always felt comfortable leaving the dogs if we had to go for dinner or whatever it may be. The cabin control worked tremendously. These new Class Bs are really remarkable, and you just got to keep fueling them like we talked about in the last tip. Okay, lesson number 10, buy a small toolkit and some extra fuses. So for us, we weren't even thinking about it. It's a brand new Class B. We won't have any issues. But as everyone told us, be ready for some things to break down on your RV. And we ended up needing tools and extra fuses. In fact, we were going to make a video on our TV situation, but we didn't think that there'd be enough people to watch it. But we couldn't get the TV to work, only to find out that the fuse was blown, and we went through that and got it fixed and up and running. And wow, that was wonderful. We got the DVDs in, got the popcorn out, and with these brand new Class Bs, the sound systems are fantastic. And we had movie night a couple nights and had a lot of fun. But make sure for lesson number 10, get your tools and your extra fuses. Okay, lesson number 11. This one is really straightforward. Don't be afraid to use everything. That's right. Alice grew up with an RV over in Italy, and I give her credit for this lesson because even when I jumped in the first time, I was like, well, are you sure we can use that? Do we want to use this? And her philosophy was real simple. Use everything. It doesn't matter if it's the awning, if it's the speakers, if it's the DVD, the TV, the toilet, the shower, the sink, the heater. Use it all and enjoy it. That's what life is all about. Get outdoors and have some fun with your Class B RV. And we just love this camper van. On our first trip on the way back, we hit Shenandoah and some other great places. We did even more videos. So stay tuned, definitely subscribe, share with your friends, give us a like down below, be part of the How to Have Fun Outdoors, and we'll see you outside. Thanks so much for watching.